Vice Chairman and MD of NIIT Limited. Hi sir, good afternoon. Thank you so much for speaking with ET Now. First up, let me begin with the corporate learning segment, because this time around your growth in that particular segment was quite strong, and given the entire industry dynamics, that seems well poised. Are you looking at raising your guidance? Because earlier it was around 30% growth in terms of revenue as well as the margins of around 20%. What's the outlook?
Well, we have already raised the guidance to mid-30s for the whole year, and versus what we had said, it will be just 30% plus. We have already raised the guidance, and that's based on the inflows that we have from requests from our customer base. I think the important issue to see there is the new clients as well as the nature of work that we are now getting into. We have always been very focused on the Fortune 1000 clients, and I think now we have category leaders in most of the verticals that we are focused on. So we have had a very decent contract intake, and you can see that the visibility, our revenue visibility has gone up substantially in this quarter, and there were very good contract additions. So based on all this and the momentum that came in from the earlier contracts, I think we raised the guidance and kept the guidance on the margin at the same levels, which is mid-20s.
Right. Good afternoon, Mr. Thadani. There is Cheryl also joining in the conversation. Your client additions actually have been strong over the last 2 to 3 quarters. Could you tell us how is the momentum looking like in this quarter, and which are the industries that are actually driving this growth? Is it the new age tech companies, the gaming companies, or any other?
So if you see our CLG performance in the last quarter itself, we added 4 new MTS customers and logos. We had certain expansions and we had certain renewals. I think all this contributed. What actually gives confidence to our customers is about the flexibility that we demonstrate, the consistency with which we deliver the service, and the fact that we are always available to serve them in any part of the globe. I think these 3 things have worked well for us, and we believe that we will take advantage of these as we go forward. The second part was, are we working with gaming companies, new age technology companies? So it's a mix. As you know, a lot of MTS work that we do is on one hand for technology companies, and on the other hand for large category leaders in different verticals, whether it is BFSI, whether it is energy sector, whether it is pharma and life sciences. So in all these areas, these are user companies which use technology for digital transformation and serve their customers and their stakeholders. So when we work with technology companies, we do get to work on very, very new age stuff, which includes augmented reality and virtual reality. On the other hand, in our corporate customers, which are the user companies, those will be very specific instances. And in those instances, of course, we use all the new age technologies that you referred.
Sure, Mr. Thadani, you're sounding very optimistic about client addition as well as renewables. But the key question is it coming with better pricing given the overall demand in the environment and industry?
Yeah, we are able to get better pricing for a number of reasons with product mixes, because each product of ours comes with a different margin. So we are able to get a better product mix in our favor, as well as raise the level of pricing as we go forward. And that's how you have seen the margins growing as we have been discussing in the last few quarters.
Right. Shifting focus now to the skills segment, 144% growth in this quarter that's gone by. Is this sustainable? Also, what's your view on the entire ed-tech trend that we're actually witnessing?
we are at this point of time, as you rightly said, we have gone through a major transformation process, right? And we are now able to offer a very robust model of learning, which is very attractive to the individuals who come and work for us, and as well as to corporates that we deal with as we service these individuals. And what we have been able to come up with are better business models. So our aim is that if there was 450,000 new recruitments during the year in technology sector, then we should have serviced a substantial chunk of that as we go along. And that's what our focus will be. We believe that this momentum will continue for the next 4 quarters at least, unless there are some other untoward things which happen. But at least this momentum will continue for next 4 quarters as we grow from the small base. Overall growth in the skills and careers during this year will be very robust. But obviously, as the denominator increases, then next year's growth will be on a larger denominator. But we do see a 30-40% growth pattern continuing during next year as well.
Okay, so strong growth expected for the skills segment, at least for the next 4 quarters, though it might taper down to 30-40%. But I wanted to talk to you about the reports that suggest that banks are also investing big time in tech now. Their total spend on technology has gone up to 8-9% of their revenue. What are you hearing on the ground? Could you corroborate it for us?
I think your judgment and your assessment, I would tend to agree on. But I'll explain you the phenomenon which happens to any of the traditional sectors. In a traditional sectors, there are a few early adopters, right? And early adopters work with this idea and grow this idea further, and then the bulk takes over, right? So I would like to say that we are now beginning to see a momentum building after early adopters have tasted success. Okay, so the early adopters are typically banks. So BFSI, a bank, as we say, is now more a technology company than a bank. Of course, the bank solidity and the solid foundation will always remain. But I think it uses a lot of technology. A bank or a financial institution uses a lot of technology, and I think the last 2 years of COVID have only accelerated that acceptance as well as adoption. So given that, I think banks are now looking at creating captive technology workforce, which is strong enough to build newer and newer applications as well as newer and newer ways of working, rather than depending just on, let's say, third-party or external systems integrators. And to that extent, you would see as the time passes, more and more engineers being absorbed, or computer science engineers and engineering talent as well as the technology talent getting absorbed in the bank. The process has started. We are working with all of them who are at this point of time in adoption of this new way of working. And we do believe that this momentum will pick up as we go forward.
Mr. Thadani, your organization had actually, or rather your company had actually given us an update on reorganization. Could you tell us about the timelines and the strategy that you're looking to follow for this? By when can we expect it?
I think given that our CLG business is actually addressing, is amongst the top 5 in the world in terms of the contemporaries that exist in that space. And I think there, in the large market that we are operating, I think there is an opportunity for us to gain leadership.
That's the word coming in as far as NIIT Limited is concerned. Thank you so much. But let's move on and talk